What is going on, champions of the arena? I'm the host with the most, Sleepy here. Welcome back to another Pets Legends video. Of course, where today we're going to be doing a rating tier list of all the weapons in Season 9. Which weapons are the best, which weapons are the worst. The way my tier list is going to work is just I'm going to compare them, like compare and contrast the two weapons. I'm going to be saying, hey, is this weapon good? You know, top of the tier type weapon list, or just, you know, a weapon you don't really want to be using. Most of these scenarios are going to be for like end game, not like off drop, because let's be honest, off drop all the weapons are pretty much good, you know, like even Mozambique is decent off drop. So first weapon you saw was a Sentinel. Sentinel was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. You just have to have some skill and you have to hit your shots, you know, and it did get a hop up. But let's move on to the charge rifle. I'm giving the charge rifle S tier status. The charge rifle is always and will be top tier because it's just so easy to use. You get a good response, you're always hitting your shots usually, and you don't really need a lot of skill to use this weapon. It's really user friendly. Overall, it's just OP. Now the Longbow is something that I hardly use just because it's not like my playstyle. Like the Sentinel and the Longbow I just don't really use because I never really like sniping across the map or stuff like that. But if I was, I'd probably get the Longbow just because it seems so fun. And if you're good for the Longbow, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you run the Longbow? I would put it in like the middle tier list. It's definitely good, but you know, close quarters, it's a GG. Now the G7 is really still nasty. It used to be meta, but now it's kind of just in the middle. I would say, you know, it's definitely like between that 301 and like a Longbow. You know, it's that weapon where you can probably down people a lot faster than a 301 at a farther range, but at the same time it's like semi-auto, so if it's close quarters, you know, that's gonna be rough. Now the alternator is really good too, and people are even comparing the alternator to the 99. That's how good the alternator has been these last two seasons. Speaking of the 99 though, still 99, top of the tier. It just melts. Like as you can see, it's a laser. I feel like sometimes I'm shooting marshmallows with this gun though, so it just depends on the day. Now the 301 is a weapon we'll be getting into shortly after this, but the 99, I feel like if I was comparing the 99 the Volt, I'd just take the Volt because one, the Volt just hits a lot harder, but the only thing is the Volt has more recoil, I feel like, compared to the 99. That's just my opinion. The 301 is probably one of the best weapons in the game. If you're new to the game, if you're experienced to the game, whatever it is, you know the 301 just slaps. It's so easy, the recoil is non-existent, and it just lasers people. It's so fun, it's really easy to use. Every character could run this weapon, not just a specific character. I would say it's good on every legend, you know. Use it 3 times, use it 2 times. Don't just limit yourself to the 1 times, especially if you're a new player. Any new players, let me know in the comment section down below, you know, your thoughts, opinions about this video too. The P2020, if you're not new to the game, you already know, stay away from the P2020. There's no more hammer point rounds. The P2020 shoots slow, only hits for 18 per shot, and it's just overall not that great. Like, I couldn't see myself using this after like off drop. Like this is the only, I'll grab this weapon off drop and that's it. I'm replacing it as soon as possible. It's probably the worst weapon in the game right now. Now the RE45, personal favorite off drop type weapon. You won't see me using this at the end of the game though, just because I'll probably find a 99 or a 301, and that's something that'll be much more beneficial. But overall, it slaps. It's in the middle. It's not too bad, but at the end of the game, it's, you know, you want something different. So mid tier, I would say RE45. Flatline, definitely top tier. Flatline's probably one of the best guns in the game. Also with the 301, these two weapons, these two assault rifles run Apex Legends. Like if you get good with the flatline, it's so fun. Now the Hemlock is really good too as well, especially, you know, if you're good with that burst. I would definitely suggest putting a 2 or 3 times on this weapon, as a 1 times will just be alright, but if you're trying to shoot people from a far array like range, you know, like 3 times all the way. Now the Spitfire, I would just put it top tier. Now I know everyone hates the Spitfire, everyone like is just like, oh, I hate the Spitfire, or nerf the Spitfire, but at the end of the day, there's no recoil on this gun. Look at this. They nerfed this gun, by the way. There's no recoil. This is so user-friendly. That gun is so user-friendly, so of course it's going to be top tier. At the end of the day, we all hate it, just like, you know, the charge rifle, or, you know, like the people that use the triple take and stuff like that. Easy weapons, not a lot of skill involved with them, but, you know, they are really good. They're like, I said super really good. Anyway, the 3030, the 3030 is crapped out. No, I'm just playing. The 3030 kind of sucks. Unless you have this new hop-up, I wouldn't pick it up at all. You know, like even if you hit your shots, it's just so slow. Like you could probably beat someone faster with the 301, you know, or do more damage. Why wouldn't you just pick up the flatline? You know, the 30-30 is just really risky to use, really risky. Like I said though, that hop up makes it so much better. So I would put it lower in the tier list, maybe like E. But anyway, let's move on to the Volt. The Volt! Oh my gosh, one of my favorite SMGs. This thing just slaps. If you're a controller player, this thing, I know this thing slaps for you. When I used to play on PS4, I loved this weapon. Mouse and key, I'm more of like a 301 or flatline type of guy, but the Volt overall, it's so fun to use. It's easy, no recoil. It needs more skins in my opinion. We haven't had like a nice Volt skin come out for a while, you know? The Devotion, top tier weapon. Once again, the Devotion, it just melts people. It's nasty. The only downside is just the wind-up. You know, if you get a turbocharger, it's GG's. Now, the Devotion's really good at like medium to long range too. You don't want to be using this weapon without a turbocharger, close range. Havoc is probably one of the best weapons too. So it goes 301, it goes flatline, 301, and Havoc. Maybe Havoc on top. I don't know. It's just scenario-wise, the Havoc is good. You know, the hipfire is crazy on the Havoc. You have like 35 shots with it, or 32 shots with it, with a gold magazine or a purple magazine. It's just, use the Havoc. No recoil on the Havoc at all, too, by the way. L-Star kind of sucks. Stay away from it. Unless you really have to pick it up, or you're playing Rampart, I wouldn't suggest using the L-Star. It just sucks. You know, like, what are you doing? You know, like, it's a great off-drop weapon, but don't be using this middle game, end game scenario type. Now shotguns, we have 4 shotguns. This is the first time ever we have 4 shotguns on the floor for ground loot. And my favorite one out of all these is probably the EVA 8. Now, you probably say that, you're like, wait, why not the Peacekeeper? Well, the Peacekeeper all day has been hitting nothing but 9 for me. I hit like maybe a nice 100 and a 9. So the EVA 8 is a little bit more consistent. You just gotta learn how to use it, I feel like, or you'll hit a bunch of 7s or miss a lot of your shots. So overall, you know, if you want me to make a video on how to track better with shotguns, let me know. Mastiff, I feel like the Mastiff is kind of like the same with the Peacekeeper. They're like neck and neck right now, because sometimes the Mastiff will just hit for 11, but sometimes they'll hit for like a 77. Overall, it's more like a 3-4 shot kill type of gun instead of like a 2 pump. Alright, now let's talk about the PK, the Peacekeeper. It's finally back on floor loot, but it isn't the same. It's not crazy. It's not a crazy clutch weapon, whatever you want to call it. You're going to hit a lot of 99 shots, but you're also going to hit a lot of 9s. You're going to hit, you know, some nice flips, but you're going to realize that it's just a 20. You know, so the PK is really inconsistent, and overall, I'd just rather stick with an EVA 8. And plus, in Arenas mode, the PK is like 500. While the EVA 8's like 250. So I don't know why you wouldn't go with the EVA 8. Anyway, Mozambique slaps. It got a buff. It is pretty good. I recommend it in Arenas mode as a secondary weapon. I would just upgrade this, get a purple bolt or, you know, blue bolt, whatever you could get, and just have some fun. Because the EVA 8 is, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, so just, you know, stick with the Mozambique. Mozambique slaps now. With this buff, extra ammo too, I don't know, something about the Mozambique, it just hits different. So now let's talk about this bow and arrow. The bow and arrow is so fun, but you have to hit your shots. You have to hit your shots. Do not use this weapon up close quarters unless you're like skilled with it, you're experienced with it, because the hip fire is strong, but you have to hit your shots. You know, it's a bow and arrow. It's not like a Spitfire where you're going pop, 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 like you have to hit your shots. I'm out here, you know, feeling like I'm in the Hunger Games, you know, like I'm like, whoosh, whoosh, you know, I'm just like, hey, you know, or I feel like I'm like Katniss Everdeen, just going in. You know, I see a Valkyrie flying in the air, boom, headshot. You know, like, and look at, a bow has such a cool animation, man. Look at this animation. One of the coolest weapon animations. This is what I'm talking about, Respawn. This is the type of stuff I like to see. Anyway, that's my rating system for, you know, all the weapons in Season 9. Overall, most of the weapons in Apex Legends are good. Just stay away from, like, the P2020, the L-Star, you know, some of the snipers here and there. Just, it's scenario-based. Hopefully, you know, you found this video informative, educational, and you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, slap that like button down below and comment your favorite loadout, and I'll make a video about it shortly. Goodbye.